Have you ever wondered if what you call love is actually just an elaborate illusion? Carl Jung, one of psychology's most profound thinkers, argued that most of us mistake attachment, fantasy, or even desperate need for genuine love. But authentic love? That's something entirely different. It's a transformative journey that reshapes not just your relationships, but your very essence. Unlike the Hollywood version of romance, Jung's understanding of love isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about discovering wholeness within yourself while choosing to share that journey with another soul. This requires brutal honesty, unwavering courage, and the willingness to embrace both the beautiful and the ugly parts of human nature. But how can you distinguish real love from mere infatuation? Today, we're diving deep into 7 unmistakable indicators of authentic love based on Jungian psychology, signs that will reveal whether your connection runs soul deep or exists only on the surface. Before we begin, if you're ready to transform your understanding of love and relationships, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Sign 1. Love liberates rather than possesses. Jung's perspective on love completely contradicts our culture's obsession with romantic ownership. He understood that genuine love can only flourish when both individuals remain fundamentally free, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Possessiveness, according to Jung, isn't love wearing a disguise. It's fear masquerading as devotion. When we attempt to control another person through jealousy, manipulation, or endless demands, we're actually broadcasting our own insecurities rather than demonstrating care. Authentic love declares, "I choose you completely, but I will never claim ownership over you." This distinction matters because countless relationships suffocate under the crushing weight of expectations instead of flourishing through mutual respect and freedom. Jung's psychology draws a crystal-clear line between love and attachment. Attachment stems from desperate need. It clings frantically, dreads abandonment, and seeks comfort even in toxic familiarity. Love, however, grows from inner strength. It doesn't crumble when your partner evolves or pursues their individual dreams. Picture the difference between a clenched fist and an open palm. Attachment grips desperately, terrified of emptiness. Love holds gently, trusting that what's meant to remain will stay by choice, not force. Consider couples who actively encourage each other's personal ambitions, even when those dreams temporarily pull them in different directions. A partner who enthusiastically supports their loved one's decision to study overseas, pursue a risky career change, or spend time in solitary reflection isn't being neglectful. They're practicing Jungian love. They recognize that individual growth doesn't threaten intimacy. It's what keeps love vibrant and alive. Toxic relationships, in contrast, demand self-sacrifice disguised as commitment. Jung would argue this approach is completely backwards. Only by honoring each other's complete humanity can couples create lasting bonds. This perspective also challenges society's most cherished myth, that love means two incomplete people finding their missing pieces in each other. Jung rejected this notion entirely. His concept of individuation teaches that we must first achieve inner wholeness, confronting our shadows, integrating our contradictions, before we can authentically love another person. True love begins when we stop demanding that someone else heal our wounds, and instead celebrate them as autonomous, complete beings. It's the profound difference between saying, "I need you to feel whole," and "I am whole, and I celebrate your wholeness too." Sign 2. You embrace their complete humanity. Jung's revolutionary concept of the shadow, those hidden, often shameful aspects of ourselves that we deny or suppress, reveals a crucial truth about authentic love. Real love doesn't just adore someone's highlight reel. It embraces their complete human experience, including their darkness. When we love authentically, we don't fall for a carefully curated version of someone. We accept the messy, contradictory, beautifully imperfect human being beneath the surface. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or destructive behavior, but rather understanding that flaws are an essential part of the human experience. Modern relationships often suffer from what Jung called projection sickness. We unconsciously project our fantasies and unmet needs onto our partners, expecting them to be endlessly patient, perpetually cheerful, or constantly exciting. These are qualities no human being can sustain indefinitely. Jung warned that idealization is a trap. When we project perfection onto someone, we set them up for inevitable failure and ourselves for crushing disappointment. Authentic love asks, "Can I still love you when you're not who I imagined you'd be?" Think about loving someone through their struggles, not as their savior or therapist, but as a compassionate witness. Imagine your partner loses their job and spirals into self-doubt, or reveals childhood trauma they've carried in silence. In these moments, we face a choice. Do we retreat because their pain disrupts our comfort, or do we meet them exactly where they are? Jungian love chooses presence over perfection. It understands that vulnerability is the gateway to genuine intimacy. When someone shares their shadow, their fears, regrets, or perceived weaknesses, they're offering you their authentic self. To reject it is to reject their soul. Often, the traits that irritate us most in others mirror the qualities we've disowned in ourselves. A partner's stubbornness might trigger us because we've denied our own. Their emotional neediness might repel us because we fear our own dependency. Relationships become mirrors, and the more we make peace with our own shadows, the more compassion we can extend to theirs. Jung's vision of love is courageously honest. It asks us to confront the uncomfortable truth that nobody is perfect. And that's not just okay. It's what makes love real and resilient. Sign 3. Love becomes a catalyst for mutual growth. Jung's concept of individuation, the lifelong journey toward becoming our most authentic selves, reveals something remarkable about healthy relationships. They don't just provide comfort, they actively catalyze transformation. Unlike codependent relationships, where two people cling to each other out of fear, Jungian love creates a crucible for evolution. It challenges us, stretches our boundaries, and sometimes even unsettles us, not out of cruelty, but because authentic love refuses to let us remain stagnant. When two people commit to their own and each other's growth, their relationship transcends mere partnership and becomes a living journey toward wholeness. This kind of love doesn't avoid difficult conversations or uncomfortable truths. It embraces them as opportunities for deeper understanding. Picture a couple where one partner feels called to pursue a creative passion, writing, painting, or starting a business, but fears the risk of failure. A relationship rooted in Jung's principles wouldn't just offer lukewarm encouragement. It would actively create space for that exploration, even if it means temporary sacrifices or disruptions to their comfortable routine. Because true love recognizes that stifling a partner's growth to preserve comfort creates a slow suffocation. It understands that unlived dreams and abandoned aspirations eventually poison intimacy. The same principle applies to inner work. Jung believed that until we confront our unconscious patterns, our fears, traumas, and inherited scripts about love, we're doomed to repeat them endlessly. A growth-oriented partner won't enable your avoidance or participate in your self-deceptions. They'll gently but firmly reflect back when you're acting from old wounds rather than present truth. This requires immense trust and vulnerability. Growth isn't linear. It involves setbacks, confusion, and moments of regression. A Jungian approach to love makes room for these stumbles without rescuing or infantilizing. Consider a partner struggling with anxiety. The loving response isn't to eliminate every stressor from their life, which only reinforces dependency, but to support them as they develop their own resilience. It's the difference between saying, "I'll handle this for you," and "I believe in your capacity to handle this, and I'm here while you learn." Love that inspires growth sees potential everywhere. It looks at a person and whispers, "You're not yet who you could become," and that's beautiful. This vision separates transactional relationships from transcendent ones. Sign 4. It transcends mere passion and projection. The intoxicating rush of new romance, the butterflies, obsessive thoughts, and sense of finding your other half represents one of life's most exhilarating experiences. But Jung would urge caution. What we often call falling in love isn't love at all. It's projection. At the heart of Jung's theory lies the anima, the unconscious feminine aspect in men, and animus, the unconscious masculine aspect in women, archetypal images that shape our attractions. When we're captivated by someone, we're often not seeing them as they actually are, but projecting our inner ideals onto them. This explains why early romance feels so magical. We're essentially falling in love with a fantasy, a mirror of our own psyche. The challenge arises when the projection inevitably fades, leaving us face to face with a real, flawed human being where our dream once stood. True love emerges only after projections dissolve, when we've awakened from the dream of perfect union to discover the richer, more demanding reality of loving an actual person. What sustains love when the fireworks fade? Jung points to quieter but more enduring foundations: friendship, respect, and what he called psychological relationship, the conscious, daily choice to know and be known. Consider long-married couples who describe their partners as best friends. Their bond isn't built on constant euphoria, but on shared history, mutual understanding, and the comfort that comes from facing life's battles together. They've moved beyond needing their partner to play predetermined roles, and instead appreciate them as complete individuals. This mature love includes passion, but isn't dependent on it. It weathers seasons of boredom, conflict, and even temporary attractions to others because its roots run deeper than fleeting emotion. When couples navigate midlife and realize their projections have fully dissolved, the husband sees his wife isn't the eternally nurturing mother figure he unconsciously sought. The wife recognizes her husband isn't the fearless hero she imagined. Some relationships end. But for those practicing Jungian love, this marks the beginning of something authentic. Sign 5. You feel complete, not desperately incomplete. One of love's most destructive myths is that we're incomplete until we find our other half. This notion suggests that love exists to fill a void within ourselves. Jung vehemently disagreed with this perspective. Authentic love cannot emerge from emptiness or desperate need. It must arise from a foundation of inner wholeness. When we approach relationships seeking someone to cure our loneliness, validate our worth, or give our life meaning, we create dependency rather than genuine connection. Jungian psychology teaches that real love isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about sharing your completeness with another. This distinction between love as completion versus love as sharing is absolutely crucial. Codependent relationships where two people unconsciously use each other to avoid inner work are built on the illusion that another person can fix us. Think of the partner who depends on their significant other to regulate their emotions, demanding constant reassurance or becoming emotionally unraveled when apart. Jung would argue this isn't love at all, but psychological bargaining. I'll give you love if you make me feel secure. The tragedy of codependency is that it traps both people in cycles of need and resentment, suffocating genuine growth. When two whole individuals unite, their relationship becomes a space of mutual empowerment rather than emotional bartering. Jung's concept of individuation suggests we must first become whole within ourselves, facing our shadows, healing our wounds, developing the capacity to sit with our own emotions before we can healthily unite with another. Consider someone who jumps from relationship to relationship, terrified of solitude. Each new partner temporarily numbs their anxiety, but the underlying emptiness remains untouched. Until they learn to find peace in solitude, they'll continue projecting unmet needs onto partners, turning love into emotional hostage-taking. Healthy love operates from abundance rather than scarcity. When we're whole within ourselves, we don't love from fear, but from genuine desire to share and connect. This transforms love entirely. Instead of clinging possessively, we give freely. Instead of demanding validation, we appreciate our partner without making them responsible for our self-worth. If this resonates with you and you're gaining new insights about love, show some love back by hitting that like button and sharing this video with someone who needs to hear it. Sign 6. Love touches the sacred dimension. For Jung, the most profound experiences of love transcended psychology entirely. They touched the realm of the sacred. He saw in romantic love an echo of the hieros gamos, or sacred marriage, an ancient archetype representing the union of opposites into a greater whole. This wasn't mere poetic metaphor. Jung believed that when two people connect at the deepest level, they participate in something timeless and universal, a psychological and spiritual alchemy that mirrors the divine. Those who've experienced this dimension often describe it in mystical terms, a sense of recognition, as if they've known each other beyond this lifetime, or a feeling that their meeting was orchestrated by forces greater than chance. Jung introduced the concept of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that defy logical explanation, as evidence of the psyche's connection to a deeper order. In love, synchronicities appear as signs, discovering you were in the same place years before meeting, sharing the same obscure childhood memories, or experiencing a cascade of coincidences that brought you together. To Jung, these aren't just charming anecdotes. They signal that the relationship serves a purpose beyond personal happiness. The universe, through these whispers of symmetry, hints that this love is part of a larger narrative, calling both individuals toward transformation. Consider couples who, after meeting, experience profound inner revelations, intertwining dreams, intuitive knowing, or shared visions of the future. These phenomena, often dismissed as fantasy, were to Jung evidence of the psyche's boundless depth. This spiritual dimension carries a paradox. While such love feels fated, it also demands conscious participation. The euphoria of meant to be can devolve into entitlement unless paired with humility and dedication. Those who've known this depth often speak of it as both gift and responsibility, a calling to nurture something beyond themselves. Here, love becomes a spiritual practice, a daily invitation to see the divine in each other's flaws, to forgive as the universe forgives, and to serve the bond as something sacred. Sign 7. It challenges you to grow the romantic ideal of love as endless harmony and effortless compatibility fundamentally misunderstands love's true purpose. Jung saw relationships as the most powerful crucible for growth, precisely because they don't allow us to remain comfortable in our illusions. True love isn't perpetually soothing, it's transformative. It confronts us with all the parts of ourselves we've avoided, our insecurities, controlling tendencies, and hidden wounds, demanding we face them honestly. This is why the people we love most deeply often trigger us most intensely. Their presence acts as a mirror, reflecting not just who we pretend to be, but who we actually are in both light and shadow. Consider how arguments in unhealthy relationships tend to be cyclical, the same fights about the same issues with no resolution. Jung would say this happens because we're not engaging with the root of conflict, which is almost always internal rather than interpersonal. When your partner's messiness triggers disproportionate rage, it's likely touching a deeper wound, perhaps childhood experiences of chaos or fears of losing control. In healthy love, these moments become opportunities for excavation rather than blame. The most growth-oriented relationships feature what Jung called containment of conflict, the ability to stay present with tension without fleeing or retaliating. When a partner points out your defensive behavior, your instinct might be to counterattack or withdraw. But if you can pause and consider their feedback, you begin the real work. This requires tremendous vulnerability, admitting that the person who knows you best might also see you most clearly, even when it's uncomfortable. Over time, this practice transforms relationships into sacred containers, where both feel safe enough to be challenged, because they trust the love is stronger than the discomfort. Jung's vision reminds us that love isn't about finding someone who never disturbs your peace, but finding someone whose disturbances lead you to greater peace. The partner who irritates your impatience is teaching you patience. The one who triggers your jealousy is inviting you to examine your self-worth. Carl Jung's vision of love shatters modern romantic myths, revealing something far more demanding and magnificent. Through these 7 signs, from releasing possessiveness to embracing growth-promoting challenges, we see that authentic love isn't a passive state of bliss, but an active path of awakening. This isn't the love of fairy tales, it's the love of alchemists, transforming the base metal of our unconscious patterns into the gold of self-awareness and genuine connection. Jung's ultimate message is clear. Love's highest purpose isn't comfort or completion, but evolution. The most profound relationships act as mirrors, guides, and gentle provocators, nudging us toward our unrealized potential. When we stop asking, "Does this person make me happy?" and start asking, "Does this relationship help us both grow?" Swing. We begin experiencing love as Jung envisioned it, not as a security blanket, but as a sacred dance between 2 whole beings, choosing to walk the path of individuation together. As you reflect on these insights, consider this invitation. Examine your closest relationships through this lens. Do they encourage your authenticity or demand conformity? Do you feel expanded or diminished? Are your conflicts repetitive, or do they lead to new understanding? Remember, transformation isn't always comfortable. If your relationship is challenging you, it may be doing exactly what true love should. The question isn't whether your love story is perfect, but whether it's alive with meaning and mutual becoming. That's the Jungian test, and the beginning of love's greatest adventure. If these insights have opened your eyes to a deeper understanding of love, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you experienced any of these signs in your own relationships? And don't forget to subscribe to the Legends Advice for more transformative wisdom that can change how you see yourself and your relationships. Until next time, keep growing, keep loving, and keep becoming who you're truly meant to be.